nautical evening. The only nautical thing I know is my commuting on the Staten Island Ferry. But I want to thank some of the people that are here. I want to thank my board of directors. Will they please stand? Thank you. And I want to thank the 3 new friends I've met, MCs for Scott's Roast, Jeff, Bill, and Kelson. I want to thank the Self family for participating tonight, Margot, Julie, Lori Grinnan, and a big thanks to someone that came on board a bit later. Will you please stand up? Come on, Billy. Thank you, Billy Quinton. And thank you, Scott Self, for being the 8th celebrity to be roasted in support of our wonderful Philharmonic Orchestra.
You're an idiot.
And thanks to each one of you for your support. Now I would like to introduce Gary Friedman, our wonderful auctioneer.
Well, the truth of the matter is I've known Scott about 20 years, so to keep me looking good, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask that you bid early, bid lots, and let's see what we can raise so much money for Music Fest, because that's what it's all about. We need to support the arts, because if we don't support it, there's no money for it, and that's something we can't afford to do without. This first item is a great item. It's called Beauty and Bites. Neiman Marcus Downtown is donating Beauty and Bites. You and 3 friends will dine on the famous popovers with strawberry butter, followed by lunch in the Zodiac room at Neiman Marcus Downtown. Next, you'll make your way to the cosmetics department for tips and tricks consultation with Andrea Ward. How about that? Good Lord Almighty. Somebody move the page. And after gaining new insight into the skincare and makeup, you'll receive a special goodie bag with a lot of the top products as samples. So this is, once again, lunch for 4, preceded by the famous popovers with strawberry butter, and then a big bag of goodies, tips and tricks and consultations from Andrea Ward. That's Neiman Marcus. Who wants to start the bidding off at 75? 75. I'll bid 75. Now look at 100. 100 in the bag. Now look at 125. 100 here. Now look at 125. I got 100 here. Now look at 125. 125 here. Now look at 135. 135. 125 right there. Now look at 135. 125 here. Now look at 135. Who's my 125? Right there. Okay. You're the 125. You want to give me 130? She's 125 right here in the front, 125, now 130. Now look at a bid 150. 150 here, now look at 175. 150 here, now look at a bid 1. Guys, you can buy this for your wife. She'd love you for it. You might have a night we can't talk about. I don't want to even go there because you make me say that same thing I messed up earlier. I got 175 now. Look at you're 150, right? 150 here now. Look at 175. Got 150 here. 175. Thank you, sir. There's a good man. 175 now. Look at a bit 2. 175 now. Look at a 2. Look at a 2. Look at a bit 200. 175 here now. Look. Don't lose it for $25. 175 now. Look at a 2. Look at a 2. 100. I got 100. 200 right there. Thank you, ma'am. 200 here now. Look at a bit 2 1/4. 200 here now. Look at a bit 2 1/4. Look at a 2 here now. Look at a bit 225. 200's a bid now. Look at a bit 225. Look at a 225. Look at a 225. I got 200 here now. Look at a bit 2 1/4. How about 2 1/4? 225 now. Look at a bit 2 1/2. 225. Don't lose it for $25. 225 here now. Look at a bit 2 1/2. 225 now. Look at a bit 250. I got 225 over here now. Look at a bit 2 1/2. Look at a 2 1/2. Look at a bit 250. 225's a bid over here now. Look at a bit 250. Somebody give me 250. That's what I need to get in. 250. Somebody give me 250. I got 225 here. I'm going to bring it on home now. 220. If I say the word, that S word, you know. 225 is right there. Going once, going twice. Sold. $225. Guys, you had a chance to get something special for your wife, and now, ladies, you've got an opportunity to do something special for you or for that gentleman in your life. This is Monarch Air Discovery Flight. If you would like an introduction into flight training, or if you're looking for a special gift, then be sure to take advantage of Discovery Flight offered by Monarch Air. In this 1-hour flight, you'll learn how airplanes fly, conduct a pre-flight and on a light aircraft, and actually take the controls. And thank God it's under the supervision of a very top quality instructor, or we're in deep trouble here. This is, I believe, out of Addison Airport, so you can stop by my office and say hi. Who wants to start the bidding? This is a 1-hour flight, and you get to take controls. Let's start it low. How about $100? 100, look at 100, look at $100 bill. 100 right there. 100 here now, look at 100 and a half. 100 here now, look at 100 and a half, look at 100. Did I get a 150 right there? 150 here now, look at a bit 2. 150 here now, look at a 2, look at a 2. Got a 150 right there now, look at a bit 2. 2 in the back, thank you, sir. You want to give me 225? 225 here now, look at a bit 2.5. I got 225 right there now, give me 250. 225's a bid now, look at a 2.5, look at a 2.5, look at a bit 250. 225's a bid. How about, we can joke, but give me the 250. 225's a bid. How about 2.5? How about 2.5? How about 250? I got 225 bid now. Look at a 2.5. Look at a 2.5. Look at a bid 250. 225's a bid now. Look at a 2.5. Look at a 2.5. Look at a 2. I'm going to bring it on home now. We'll get stuck on this 225 thing. 225. You're 225. Going once. Oh, 250 in the back. Thank you, ma'am. 250 in the back now. Look at a bid 275. Don't lose it for $25. 275. 260. 250. 150. I can't do it any smaller than that. This is it. I'm charity. No, I'm kidding. She's 250. I need 275. I got 250 bid now. Look at a 275. Look at a 275. I got 250 in the back now. Look at a bit 275. 250 is a bid in the back now. Look at a bit 275. I'm going to bring it on home now. 250 going once. 250 going twice and sold. $250. Okay, now just so there's no, this next one, I know a lot of you guys and gals are sports minded, but a lot of you have children that are, if you're not, your kids are. This next item is a Jason Kidd autographed basketball. The basketball is signed by 10-time NBA All-Star and Mavericks point guard Jason Kidd. He's a native of Oakland, California. He was awarded the Naismith Award as the nation's high school player of the year by Parade Magazine while at the University of California at Berkeley. His NBA career includes stints with the Phoenix Suns, New Jersey Nets, of course we know twice with the Mavericks, where he's known as a physical, gritty, and respected teammate. He personally signed the ball, obviously, that's his signature, because he was reading about the Greater Rockwall Philharmonic Orchestra. Now, I'm going to start, now in case, so there's no misunderstanding, because y'all know I bid on a lot of the charity stuff. If it's my bid, I will make sure that everyone in this room knows it is my bid. There'll be no confusion because there's no Mickey Mouse, okay? I'm going to start the bid at 100. My bid 100 now, look at 125. 125 here now, look at 100 and a half. I'll bid 150. My 150 now, look at a bid 175. My 150 now, look at 175. Look at 175. Anybody want to give me 100? 175 here now, look at a bid 2. 175 here now, look at a 2, look at a 2, look at a bid 200. 175 is a bid now, look at a 2, look at a 2, look at a 200. I got a 175 bid now, look at a bid 2. How about 185? Y'all make it hard on me. I'm trying to raise money for Music Fest here, and you're pulling teeth here. 175, give me 2. You're my 175, right? 175 now, look at a 2, look at a 2, look at a bid 200. 175 is a bid now, look at a 2, look at a 2, look at a bid 200. Anybody want a bid 2? This is going to go way cheap here. 175 is a bid now, look at a 2, look at a 2, look at a 2, look at a bid 200. Anybody want a bid 200? 170, this is going to be the steal of the night here. 175 going once, 175 going twice, and sold $175. Now this next one is fun. As they say in Louisiana, let the good times roll with a ragin' Cajun party for you and 15 of your rowdiest friends. Served by Mamaw Ruth and the Music Fest Toe Tappers. Plan an evening sometime between April and June, and they'll book the community center at the park, bring in JB and the Zydeco Posse for some Cajun musical madness, and top it off with a big batch of newspaper maven, internationally known jambalaya chef David Wilfong's world famous, this is not America, this is world famous signature shrimp jambalaya. Garnished with French bread, some happy crawdads, Mamaw Ruth's makshu salad, bread pudding, Miss Teddy's heavenly pralines. This is one party your friends will talk about for many years. This is a dinner for 16. And it's got the works. I mean, it'll be the hit of Rockwall this year. Who wants to start the bidding off at 500? Now, 500 here now. Thank you, ma'am. 5, Margot's my 5. 5 here. Look at it. You want to give me 6 in the back? 6 in the back. How about 5 here? 5. You want to give me 600? 5 in the back. I got 5 right here now. Look at a bid 600. 5 here now. Look at a bid 600. 5. Look at a bid 6. Look at a bid 600. I got 5 bid now. Look at a bid 600. How about 5.5? Somebody give me 5.5 right here. Thank you, ma'am. 5.5 now. Look at a bid 600. 5.5 here now. Look at a bid 600. 5.5 now. Look at a bid 600. 600. Look at a bid 600 in the back. Thank you now, sir. 600 here now. Look at a bid 650. 600 in the back now. Look at a bid 6.5. Look at a bid 6.5. Look at a bid 650. I got 6 back. 650 right here now. Look at a bid 7. 650 here now. Look at a 7. Look at a 7. Look at a bid 700. 650 here now. Look at a bid 7. 7. Look at a 7. Look at a 7. Look at a bid 700. I got 650. How about 7, sir? How about 7? Smile me at her later. Smile at me now. I'm the guy trying to get to 700. I'm not going home with you. She might. I'm not. This is it. 650 right here now. Look at a bid 7. 650 here now. Look at a bid 7. Look at a bid 7. I got 650 right here. This is it now. Come on. Talk to me now. 650 here now. Look at a bid 7. I'm going to bring it on home. 700 right there. Say, all right. 700. Thank you, sir. David Couch. Thank you, David. 7 here now. Look at a bid 7.5. I got 7 here now. Look at a bid 7.5. Bid 750 and just really blow his night away. 7 here now. Look at a bid 7.5. Look at a bid 750. I got 7 bid here now. Look at a 7.5. Look at a bid 7.5. Look at a bid 750. 7's a bid now. Look at a 7.5. Look at a bid 7.5. Look at a bid 750. 750 right here. Oh, talk about good now. Somebody going to eat good. Somebody going to have. You know, I'll give you my number. I'd love to be invited to that part. 750 right here now. Look at bid 800. I got 750 here now. Look at bid 800. 750 now. Look at 800. Look at 800. Look at 800. I got 750 right there. How about 800? 880. Look at 8. Look at 8. Look at bid 800. I got 750 right there. Somebody give me 800. Look at 800. 800. Talk to me now. Yeah. All right. 800 here now, look at 8.5. I got 800 here now, look at 8.5. 800 here now, look at 8.5. Look at 8.5. Look at 850. 800 here now. You ain't that hungry, are you? 800 here now, look at 8.5. 800 here now, look at 8.5. Look at 800. Look at 850. I got 800 right there. Going once. Going twice. And sold $800. He may need a good lawyer. Oh, he is a lawyer. Never mind. Never mind. I'm going to say, my good friend David Couch, who would invite me for dinner here. not in this lifetime, right? Yeah. I know how that is. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this next item, and I'm going to bid on this item, so we're going to make it very clear again. It's a sunset cruise for 10 aboard the Seawolf. Experience the famous blowing of the conch. As Captain Scott demonstrates the personal wind that powered his way through all those years in politics. That was some bad wind some of that time. I don't want to go there. It's a long story. Old joke, too. The melodious sound of the conch has become a Leg Hubbard tradition as the sun goes down during these popular cruises. Guests will meet the captain personally. He'll let a photograph for $100 right with him there. No, I'm kidding. He only charged me $50. I don't know why I said $100. Anyway, you're taken aboard a scenic hour-and-a-half sail on the most scenic lake in Texas. Now, this is a group of 10. So, if y'all want to get together and outbid each other in these groups of 10, that'd be great. I'll start the bidding off at 200. It's my 2. Now look at a bid 2.5. This is for 10, okay? My 2. Now look at a bid 2.5. Look at a 2.5. Look at a bid 2.5. Look at a 2.5. I got. Who was the first one, Kenda? You got to be honest. You know your position. Put some pressure on these elected officials now, you know what I mean? All right. Who was the first, the brunette? Did you raise your hand? That was the first one I saw, right in here, whoever that was. I can't see because y'all behind Margot. But it was right behind Margot, and I saw a hand come up. So we'll go that 250. Who wants to give me 300? 300 to back. How about 350? 350 here now. Look at a bid 4. 350 here now. Look at a 4. Look at a 4. Look at a 4. Look at a 4. I got 350. 400 right there. 400. How about 4.5? 4.5 in the back now, look at a bid 5. 4.5 in the back now, look at a 5, look at a 5, look at a bid 500. 4.5 in the 5 right here now, look at a bid 5.5. 5 here now, look at a 5.5, look at a 5.5. This is for 10 now. 5 here now, look at a 5.5, look at a 550. Got 500 here now, look at a 5.5, look at a 5.5, look at a 550. 5 right here now, look at a bid 5. Y'all can hear me in the back there? Hey, Jack, can you hear me? Jack knows me too. He ain't about to wave. I can don't cost him too much. He knows me too well. Go way back. That's right. Okay, I got 500 here now. Look at a 5.5. Look at a 5.5. You're the 5. 5.5 in the back now. Look at a bid 600. 5.5 in the back now. Look at a bid 600. Got 5.5 in the back now. Look at a bid 6. Look at a bid 600. 6 right here now. Look at a bid 6.5. I got 6 here now. Look at a bid 650. 6 here now. Look at a 6.5. Look at a bid 650. 6 a bid right here now. Look at a bid 6.5. I got 6 here now. Look at a bid 650. 6 a bid now. Look at a bid 6.5. Look at a bid 6.5. Look at a bid 650. 6 a bid here now. Look at a bid 6. I'm gonna bring it on home now. I got 600 right here. 650 in the back. Thank you, sir. 650 in the back now. Look at a bit 7. Look at a 7. Look at a 7. I got 650 in the back now. Look at a bit 7. 650 in the back now. Look at a bit 7. Look at a 7. Look at a 7. Look at a bit 650 in the back. I'm looking at a bid 7. Somebody give me 7. 7. Look at a 7. Look at a 7. Look at a bid 7. 650 is a bid. I'm going to bring it on home now. 650 going once. 650 going twice. Sold $650. I just want to say I want to thank Ruth. I've had the opportunity to do the auction here for a number of years. I'm a big fan. I've been a contributor to the wonderful cause that they do here, and that's produce magnificent music and entertainment for the people of Rockwall. So I want to thank Ruth, thank everybody here. God bless you, and let's make it a great year. Oh, my God. Hey, can you hear me there? He's a great pirate. He sailed the 7 seas.
Thank you. That's great. We got him all dressed up. Yeah. Yeah. Like you know how to use it. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're gonna run a little video here for a couple of minutes, and we could really probably quit right after that, from what I understand. I haven't seen this yet, but let her roll as soon as we can.
The owner, Skipper, believes that white is right and cleanliness is next to winningness with his white uniforms there. And his name is Dean Guerin on the left there with a cap. And this is the start of the last race of the week, which takes the fleet from Curtain Bluff back to English Harbor, where it started earlier in the week. This is the start of the race.
50. Let's bring it in. Speed. 45.
Okay, you got a barger.
Just fire underneath this guy.
Go down.
40.
Hold it course, you got it wired. Hold it course, keep it up. Keep going. 35 seconds. You're okay.
We'll never be late.
Trim for speed, guys. Go for it. 25.
Trim for speed. Come on, trim for speed. In on everything. Let's go. Crank it in.
Take it around on up. Take him up.
50. Go on! Okay.
7, 8, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice start.
Wee. A fairly desperate but good start. And the sailor making all the noise there, or most of the noise, was Scott Self, a real tiger here at the helm. He makes everyone else on the boat look like they're in reverse. But after that highly emotional start, why, Tiger's father thought he would take over the helm for a little cooler beat to the windward mark. So Dean Guerin, the owner, had a good portion of the Self family aboard, Father Alden, son Scott, and daughter Becky. And Becky is there tailing a sheet. Well, it was great fun pouring through the fleet on starboard tack, passing ahead of boats many feet larger than we were. But then there were the smaller boats right up with us also, so we didn't get overconfident. Then Then Tiger Scott took the helm again, and things livened up as he's frantically looking for a safe place to tack to get around the windward mark. They're coming from the left. They're coming from the right. They're behind us. They're in front of us. Now I know what General Custer looked like on his day. And around the mark we go. With a little splash in the face. Now Scott was capable of doing anything on the boat better than anybody else. Or so it seemed. He had his steel trap mind on steering, navigation, tactics, sail trim, all at the same time.
Okay, guys, this is just a little too easy. Yeah. So when I was first asked to, Scott came to me. He said, "Would you like to, help with this roast?" And the same three words came to probably just about everybody in the audience here: target-rich environment. This just didn't, as you can see, this just isn't that hard. So I know as the shooting starts here and everybody gets kind of lathered up, you're going to want to charge the stage and get your licks in, and we are going to allow that a little later after everybody's done for $100 a minute, and we will time that. Everybody can say what they want. So actually, a little more house cleaning here. There are some subjects that are going to be off limits. Actually, there's only one. We got a call from the county this morning, said that the penis structure on top of the new county courthouse is not a memorial to Scott Self, and we will not discuss it this evening. And we appreciate your cooperation with this. And other than that, hey, it's all wide open. Okay, we're going to go into Politics 101 here. If you don't want them to say it, don't call them and tell them not to say it. All right. So I have the opportunity to introduce the first group of roasters tonight. It'll be three. The first one is Alan Self, the head of the family. Keep seated. It's going to take you a while to get up here anyway. So Alan is for those of you who don't know Alan, he is a professor of economics, from Texas Christian University, a wonderful place. He was responsible for teaching Scott about math, accounting, and of course ethics, and from that, Scott was able to be elected to a paid position as county treasurer on the noble ethical platform of abolishing the office for the good of the county, and he only did that twice. But once I kind of got an idea, Alan's, ethics here, the day I got to meet all of Scott's boat partners, all quarter interest boat partners on the dock at the same time, true story, all 5 of them like I said, this isn't that hard. So, and those of you who have read some of the things and know this, and I think it's all made up anyway, but SELF actually stands for Southern England Legal Felon. So if we got any questions there, and Alan, you're responsible for this brood. We also have Fred Self, Scott's younger brother. Fred managed to managed, with Scott and Alan's help, managed to make tens of dollars in the boat business. And now he makes millions of dollars by memorizing all of our secret documents before he shreds them. Then, of course, we have Becky. Becky is the Florence Nightingale of the group, the most wonderful, sweet person you would ever meet, obviously adopted. So, without further ado, I present you the Self-Von Trapp family.
Let me ask, how many of you have sailed with Scott or been cussed at by Scott on a boat? Give me a round of applause. Kelson, I just wish it was true that it was tens of dollars that I made in the boat business. Actually, it was negative, and I ended up paying the IRS off, and so that was a long time ago. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you getting me involved in that. He came to me. I was living in Dallas, and he says, you know what? You need something to do. And I said, well, what's that? And he said, well, what I want you to do is I want you to live in this boat shop, and I want you to open it up and run it 7 days a week. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Then he ordered a boat, and he said, you'll sell it to me at cost. When we originally heard about Scott's selection to be the first roastee of 2011, we were duly proud of his efforts. He worked hard, he campaigned hard, and he even bought a Prius so that he could show his green credentials to the entire city. We were oh so proud that he had successfully added one more notch to his community services of Rockwall.
Then the horror of all horrors. Not that someone would say something embarrassing, rather that while each of you get to go home and forget about it, we, his family, have been invited to breakfast tomorrow morning. Jan will have to sleep next to him tonight. Billy and Chandler are going to have to console him in the aftermath of the devastating jabs that will undoubtedly puncture his self-inflated view of his life. Oh, what were we thinking?
Because we're family, and we know his secrets, but he knows ours too. So after that threat this afternoon, we decided that we were going to take the high road. And so what we thought we'd do is we'd talk to you about things that happened and how Scott became the person that he is before he moved to Rockwall. So my father's going to give you a couple examples.
We're going to make this fast and truthful, even if it embarrasses Scott, since he can take it as a former mayor, county treasurer, county commissioner, as well as the chief executive and chairman of the board of our Pro Soap company that Billy runs.
A lot more successfully too, I might add.
Yes, he's done a much better job.
He's paying things off.
Yeah, when we were entering the football stadium in Norman, Oklahoma, when Scott was 8 years old, he asked me, Dad, what's going to happen today? I replied, I'm going to become a doctor. And he said, does that mean you can give us our polio shots? And I replied, no, I'm not going to be that kind of a doctor. And Scott said, oh, I see. You're going to be a fake doctor. And I guess that's what I've been to him, at least, for the last half century. Now, when his daughter Chandler graduates from med school on June 4 of this year, I'm going to ask her what's going to happen. And when she says that she's going to become a doctor, I'm going to ask her, does that mean you can be a distinguished professor? Author of a world-leading textbook about compensation? Author and direct a Bureau of Business Research? and a Department of Management in a Rose Bowl university like TCU. And when she says, no, I will say, oh, I see, Scott, you're going to be the father of a fake doctor. Scott is the only racing sailor I know who has managed to sink both a J-24 and a J-22 in Lake Ray Hubbard. The J-24 had 19 sailors aboard when it went down. And to show how quickly Scott learns, he was by himself when he sank the J-22. I'm just glad he didn't do any sinking while winning those sailboat races across the Atlantic and the Pacific and in Lake Michigan and the Gulf of Mexico.
What y'all don't know is that when that J-22 went down, in the middle of the lake after the thunderstorm, there was this little piece of aluminum sticking up and there was this little body bobbing next to it. And I was driving across I-30 and I said, what damn fool would do that?
So throughout his life, he was always a little different. Whether fighting with us on the farm over who would get to shoot the cottonmouth snake or who would get to skin the rabbit for the Daniel Boone hat. As I said, Scott was a little different.
He first ran for politics, what you thought was at age 40. He first ran for politics at 16. Now you got to picture this. Scott is running for the Spirit Group of Pascal High School, and in order to do this, he decided he was going to call attention to himself. So what did he do? He put on a white shirt, white blue jeans, white tennis shoes, and a white hat with a "Vote for Scott" across the front. Does that seem familiar? Did you see the Prius outside? Same thing.
Scott has brought us to tears on many occasions. Tears of his perfect coordination. Tears at his youthful exuberance in college when spilling an entire tray of food right on top of him with this gorgeous girl across from him. Or he's just being kind of low-keyed when we're out at family dinners and restaurants and he wants to tell the story in his very quiet voice. Oh, it's me again. I'm sorry. Okay, so while never pretending to be anything other than the center of attention, he often confuses his facts. He misses his underlying point and deflects critical responses with proclamations like, "You have a right to your opinion. I just don't want to hear them."
Scott tells really bad jokes and just roars at his own deliveries. Jokes are really his opinions on topics of the day. Here are examples of statements Scott's made to us in private. Texting while driving isn't so bad as long as it's hands-free. Yeah. Scott thinks Baptists are okay. He just thinks they don't hold them under long enough. Scott.
He really did say that.
Yeah. And he's an Episcopalian, like me. Scott used to say that smoking pot while driving is preferable to drinking while driving. After all, he says, you'll drive on the freeway at 10 miles per hour, both hands on the wheel with sunglasses on at night.
Yes, Scott has enlightened us with enough fodder to fill a hay barn. We, his family, have become seriously concerned with his stability and well-being. We are grateful that Chandler will graduate in May and we will have an in-family shrink. We've counseled Scott, we've advised him, we've cajoled him, and pushed him. Finally, we've decided that the best alternative would be simply to pray for his salvation. So we've decided to do tonight is say a wee, tiny little Irish blessing in hopes to instill some modest humility, sanity, and calming influence. At least Chandler says that the only real hope, other than drugs, very strong drugs. So here we go.
Scott, my younger brother, just want to clarify that. May the road rise to meet you.
Just stay away from slick roads, center medians, overloaded boat trailers, as well as high-powered cars. While keeping friends that bail money, fiberglass repair shops, siblings willing to lie to your parents about what really happened to Dad's Corvette while they were on vacation.
And who you were with. May the sun shine warm upon your face.
As your dear mother would say before every sunfish race at the dockside, while trying to put white sunblock on your face, as all of your friends were watching and laughing, Gloria said, remember to check for sun damage, wear your sunglasses, where's your life jacket, and take Becky for extra ballast. By the way, if you want that same copper bronze tan that stands out like a beacon, even in a dark restaurant, pilot Seawolf all day, every day for 180 days straight.
May the rains fall soft upon your fields.
Especially when you're hunting at 11 years old and convince your older brother that that critter in the bush is a rabbit, knowing full well it's really a skunk. And falling down laughing when Fred pulled that skunk up by the tail. Mother really wasn't very happy. They slept in the end of the barn that week.
And burned my clothes. May God hold you in the palm of his hand. Even if you no longer practice politics at Lake Point Church as a group leader, sharing your beliefs on Sunday while telling us how you really think on Monday at lunch. May God be with you and bless you. That was way too good. Oh, let's see. May you see your children's children. Katie. May you be poor in misfortune.
Let's see. We all invested in some of your sales pitches at different points in our life. How did that really turn out? How about our 401ks at Merrill Lynch? What about our purchase in the Lincoln National Bank? And how about our investment in ProSoap? That's why he succeeded as county treasurer. He can account for money with your tax dollars and your tax liability.
May you be rich in blessing.
While Mom and Dad were in the Caribbean, thankfully, I couldn't find Scott one day. He didn't come back. I was in high school. He was watching over me, and he didn't come home. So I called Fred, and Fred found Scott in jail. He'd been charged with a TWI, tinkling while intoxicated on the interstate freeway.
I had to explain to Scott, you don't face oncoming traffic. The police have headlights. May you know nothing but happiness.
As long as you know nothing but happiness, yes. As long as you keep Jan happy, the banker's happy, and your lawyer's paid.
May the wind be always at your back.
And an inside overlap at the downwind buoy. And crew members holding Loomer 35 winch handles to back you up in protest meetings. And an extra 1 degree heel when putting a 10-foot beam boat in a 9-foot space at the starting line.
May the warm rays of sun fall upon your home. Actually, you're moving into the first single unit home you've ever owned. Jan, you are a saint. Imagine waiting 35 years for your first new home. Jan, I give it up to you, girl. And may the hand of a friend always be near.
Jan and Jan and Jan.
May green be the grass you walk on. The new home will have grass. You'll actually own it, and you'll have to buy a lawnmower. May blue be the skies above you. May pure be the joys that surround you. May true be the hearts of the ones who love you. And
Know that we love you too.
I'm Bill Draheim. I'm going next, and I feel bad for Scott that his family didn't really give him the stuff he deserved, but I'm sure there's more people to come. You guys are way too nice. I've known Scott ever since I moved to Rockwall, and even before that. I moved in town around 1990, and we're sailing buddies from way back. And Scott and I go to lunch at least 2 times a week, sometimes more. We always talk about sailing and things more ridiculous than that. But Scott's been a great friend to me. He's allowed me to rent a space behind Pro Soap, which has no heating, no AC, no plumbing, and no toilet. But, it's perfect. He tells me that all the time. So, what could be better? I'm a little concerned about this roast. I'm looking around. I see Scott, he's affiliated with the government on and off. I see all these other government officials here, and I'm really worried for Ruth. These people that you're hanging out with, they want the same thing that you do. They want to get money from the taxpayer. I would disassociate yourself with this group and move on to another group. Quick. If you look at some of the successful art institutes of the past, you got Rockefeller Center, Carnegie Hall. These are rich private entrepreneurs, not at all like Scott. Scott is what can I say? He's a narcissist. He's got the sign on his car, and even Ruth, if you bail out from hanging out with these people, he's going to say in the future, "Look, I had the sign on the car about the roast. I drove all around the Metroplex. Sure, you found some whales to give you some money, but they wouldn't have donated if I didn't have the sign on the car, and I deserve my cut." And it's just the way Scott thinks. Whether it's 10% or 50% or even 100%, it means there's going to be more in the future. So unfortunately, you got Scott. So I'm not very good at this. I don't do this. Oh yeah, I got a good example about Carnegie Hall. It was in the news a couple of weeks ago. I spend most of my time in isolation in that dreadful tin shed, listening to the news all day and sewing sails. So I'm a little bit whacked. And this is what I heard on the news. At Carnegie Hall, they are controlled by a union. It's the stage workers union. And the idiot who changes the light bulb gets $250,000 a year on average. And they're at the point where they can't pay people to come in and play music, which I guess initially was the intent of that place. And I think that's the intent of this group. So please, that's one final warning. Get away from this crowd that Scott hangs out with. Scott, look at the way he's dressed. He loves all things. And again, being the narcissist, he thinks he's good at everything. He's good at art. He's good at music. He got involved with the Rockwall players. What do they call themselves? The Rockwall. He got involved for the wrong reason. Scott's not that smart. He was a little confused about the meaning of the word thespian. He didn't realize until he got involved really what it meant. But and anyhow, I went to a few of the shows he was in, and he's absolutely tragic. Anybody see him? Absolutely tragic. And he picked up on it after a while, but he thought, I still got my niche. I'm still good. I can be a player. And And so Scott, he decided, well, maybe I'm not good at this part, but I'm going to give my all at the cast party. That's where I'm really going to shine. And so he was still able to have a good presence. I don't read so well anymore. I'm 50 years old now, and my vision's going away. Sorry. But this is interesting. You can tell already that a lot of us are involved in sailing. You saw a film of Scott, right? He's a big sailor. A lot of you probably have heard about his sailing exploits. What many of you may or may not know is we got a guy in Rockwall that won an Olympic gold medal in sailing. So that's pretty commendable. That's hard to beat. But aside from that guy, I'm sure most of you, from what we've talked about tonight, and Scott talking to you in the past, must realize that aside from Paul, Scott's probably the best sailor in the area. And we have a show of hands to confirm that. I mean, obviously, I can't be the only one that. You guys know that. There's only a few of us. Oh, come on. Who else would be on a video like that? Well, luckily, only a few of you raise your hands. Only a few you have to take your napkins, go out and clean the crap off that the Easter Bunny left on your car. Most of you are smarter than I thought. This is kind of this is an extension of what Alan was saying. Sometimes we throw words around that are too harsh. Words like irony or stupidity or absurdity. But it's fine with Scott. Alan mentioned that Scott sank 2 boats on Lake Ray Hubbard. And as a result of that, he was given a commercial license to take people out sailing. If that isn't stupid, I don't know what is. But I'm supposed to introduce Billy and Chandler's self, and I'm supposed to roast Billy and Chandler's self. I'm not going to roast Billy and Chandler's self. They're nearly perfect kids. Billy, as we get back to how good a sailor Scott is, Scott's not even the best sailor in his family. Billy was nearly an All-American at A&M. I mean, the only time Scott gets close to All-American status in our sport is when he's ordering cheese on his burger at the Yacht Club Grill. I mean, he is so far underneath Billy's ability, it's not even funny. And you guys wouldn't have known it if I didn't tell you, because he's not going to tell you. And as Chandler's relative said, she's going to graduate from med school here real soon. I mean, what do I have to say negative? She's hot. Look at her. I mean, she's fine. I just can't think of anything. So I'm going to let them come up here. And the difference is that you might try to play off to see if there's a big difference between perception and reality. Obviously Jan did a great job raising the 2 kids. And Scott's. So they have their own idea of what was going on while their dad was out drinking and carousing and stealing money from the public. And I guess we're going to find out if they really knew what was going on. So, Billy and Chandler Self.
Thank you. I guess first and foremost, Dad, my name, Chandler. So they named me after their neighborhood, right? What the hell? Were they high? Really? Yes. It's okay, Dad. Dad, you really are the best, though. I mean, Dad is everything that a good dad should be. He always gives great advice, has the best stories, tells great jokes. But one thing that my family has learned around the family dinner table that my mom always cooks for us growing up is that we had to figure out some way to tell when Dad was exaggerating or not. We just really had to figure it out. And one day we sat down, the 3 of us, and we were like, his lips move. That is when he's exaggerating. No, seriously. But and Dad really has been the best at answering all of life's toughest questions. And he has the best answers, and he always has the answer. It's sometimes the wrong answer, but he always has an answer to give, to tell us. It's, it's very comforting. And Dad, that's one of your best qualities. You always have a way of putting people at ease. For example, when my first boyfriend came over to pick me up on our first date, Dad took him aside and he said, whatever you do to my daughter, I'm going to do to you. If you hit my daughter, I'm going to hit you. If you make her cry, I'm going to make you cry. And if you kiss her, I'm going to kiss you. But Dad, you didn't expect my first boyfriend to become my husband. So that makes it kind of awkward now, doesn't it? That makes it real awkward, a little weird. It's a little strange. That's okay. So this is my dad. He wears pirate costumes to his own roast. He bought Skechers Shape-Ups shoes and wears them and farts audibly in public all the time. He also supports me 100%, tried to buy me a drink at a bar when I was 15 years old, convinced me to think about going into medicine, and went to every dance recital when I was little. I love him and couldn't ask for a better or more perfect dad. So.
Well, Dad, really my goal here is just to pierce through that ego of yours. But, Dad, I really do love you, but when it gets right down to it, you have a farting problem. When I was asked to roast this, I thought, my childhood memories. Just plagued with anxiety of whether my dad was going to fart in front of my friends, my classmates, all throughout. In fact, my family and we went to yoga class one time. And I brought my then fiance, Katie, with me. And so we're at yoga class, and every time the instructor would say, exhale, he would squeak one out. It got so bad, actually, that he literally rolled up his mat, walked out the room, mid-tree pose. Couldn't handle it. The whole classroom couldn't handle it. I'm glad you left. Another thing, Dad, is just growing up, I thought, I just want to thank you for confusing the hell out of me about what it meant to be a Republican. I grew up thinking voting Republicans gave money to NPR, was members of the ACLU, just on and on. And it didn't hit, it hit me in D.C. when I went to go work for Congressman Hall on the Democratic Science Committee. And so I was around all these Democrats, and I kind of looked around and went, oh my God, my parents are raging liberals. He actually said his greatest disappointment, when Chandler and I graduated from college and we got home, he said his greatest disappointment was raising two kids that were considerably more conservative than he was. And Dad, back to your arrogance, I have to set the record straight. So in spite of how many people you told this, none of my girlfriends dated me because I was the mayor's son. And also, this past Christmas, I got to tell my parents that that he was going to be a grandfather for the first time. And like all big moments in my life, he took me aside and said, had some real good sage advice for me. He said, well, Billy, to be honest with you, I really didn't like kids. I didn't like children. Not till they were about 10 years old or so, until they could have a decent conversation. He said what parents usually do, they think that they have to enjoy their kids, but really they should just pretend to enjoy their kids. And so I started thinking again about my childhood, and you really did a lot. I mean, he did a lot. I mean, he was my assistant scoutmaster. He was my soccer coach once, countless weekends, teaching me how to sail. We did a backpacking thing, 111 miles to New Mexico for Boy Scouts. And I thought, wow, that was a lot of effort. And I just had no idea how much suffering you went through. I mean, so I just wanted to let you know how much it means to me that you lied and pretended all of those years until we were able to hold a decent conversation. Dad, in all seriousness, I love you. I wouldn't have any other dad, and you're pretty fantastic, so thanks.
Good evening. Fornication. I'm sorry. For an occasion like this, where we have the opportunity to make fun of Scott Self, we could spend hours. I'm Jeff Prugelhoff, and I'm grateful to just have a few moments. Now, you know that preparation isn't really Scott's forte. I've sailed many miles with Scott, and for one offshore race on soap opera, Scott had a seafood restaurant placemat as a navigation chart. I'm not making this stuff up. A blow-up doll for a life raft. And his emergency communications included each of us carrying a cell phone out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico that we could call each other if we fell off the boat. I'm pretty sure we ended up 9th in that race. And you know, Scott is the ultimate schemer. But did you know that he was able to get the marina management company Westrec to sponsor our very cold trip to Holland for a world championship regatta as they were going into bankruptcy? No matter what you've heard, the cuddling between Scott and I in Europe was for warmth. It's Europe. Scott continues to look for the next adventure in life. He's tried at least 4 different schemes. This is just in the past 6 months. He's tried 4 different schemes to sail around the world. That didn't work out, so I guess he decided to build a house. So Scott, once you move out of the condo and into the house, are you going to run against Ken Jones for something? Scott, you may be a schmuck, but you're our schmuck. And so here's to more wacky adventures with you. Our next presenters are Julie Couch, Lori Grinnan, and Margot Nielsen. They have enlisted the audiovisual monkey grinder Jeff Grinnan and the sweet voice of Billy Quinton. As city manager of Rockwall, Julie Couch worked with Scott when he was mayor. Hey, say, Kelson, how much does a beer cost on Scott's boat?
About $25,000, but that includes all the lawyer's fees and the complimentary breathalyzer.
And we have Lori Grinnan. Hi, Lori. Lori's been a long-time contributor to RSID, to the school board, and now serves as our Southside County Commissioner. Lori, when Scott dies, will he get to lie in state under your rotunda? And finally, we have my good friend Margot Nielsen, Rockwall's one I love you, Margot. Ladies?
We're going to have our own game of Jeopardy is what we're going to do. So y'all get to see the game show in action. This is called Scots and Jeopardy. So let's go ahead and get this one started. Our first contestant is for Helping Hands. She's a graduate of University of Berkeley at Rockwall. She has tremendous upper body strength from trying to pry open all the Republican checkbooks. Her hobbies include collecting Gunsmoke lunchboxes and rolling her eyes at dumbass conservatives. Ladies and gentlemen, Rockwall's favorite liberal, Margot Nielsen. All right, our next contestant is from the city of Rockwall and a recent graduate of Aladdin Beauty College, where she got a PhD in herding cats and elected officials, same thing. It's a little known fact that Julie received a full ride scholarship as a bingo team captain, but they lost the national championship when she forgot to use that free space. It was right there. The championship was there to be taken. Her hobbies include recreating the movie Jaws with shadow puppets and annexing Hunt County. Ladies and gentlemen, your city manager, Julie Couch. And our final contestant. She comes to us from Rockwall County, where the motto is, if you build it, they will come. She received a BS degree from Harvard, and ironically, BS. And that comes in handy dealing with the county business that she has to deal with every day. She's musically gifted. Many people don't know that. She received much notoriety for playing the juice harp with Grandpa Jones on Hee Haw back in the early 70s. Now you can catch her at church playing the spoon. She does an amazing grace. It's beautiful. So from atop the now penis-shaped dome on the new courthouse, Lori Grinnan. Okay, real quick, like I said before, it's Jeopardy, but it's not exactly like it is on TV. We're not going to have answers in the form of questions. We tried that. Somehow the three ladies couldn't get that. It was confusing. It was like we were trying to split an atom. They couldn't do anything. So we're just going to ask questions about man of the honor, or the man of the honor, man of whatever. Let's move on. And so let's go ahead and get this one started. Our first category is City Slicker. These questions are directly related to his city endeavors. Our next category is Self-Portraits. And these are portraits of Scott, or photos of Scott, that will need some explanation. Just get ready for those. County Mountie is our next category. This references Scott's service as a county official. And Holy Moly refers to Scott's religious awakening. That's our next, yeah. Next category is volunteer service. And this is just all the many things that Scott has done with his time. And then finally, potpourri is our last deal. Potpourri. Oh, potpourri. Sorry, I don't know French. I grew up in Lampasas. We never use that word, man. So we'll like potpourri. We just said a bunch of stuff. Okay, Margot won the wrestling match in the back, so you get to go first, Margot.
Thank you. I'd like to try volunteer service for 200.
All right. What were Scott's duties as Commodore, Margot?
He sang Brick House, 3 Times a Lady, and Sail On.
No. Let me finish the question first. That'd make it a little easier. He's not the lead singer of the Commodores. You're confused. It's not Lionel Richie, for crying out loud. Okay, let me go ahead. Let's finish the question. How's that sound? Let's do that. Well, it must be nice to run her own business, do whatever the hell she wants. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. What were Scott's duties as Commodore of Chandler's? Lori.
As Commodore, Scott got to shoot the gun when all the sailboat races start, and he got to hit the first tennis ball of every match.
No, nice guess. Thanks for playing. No, that's not it. Julie.
I know. He got to wear a really cool hat, and he got to try all the drinks at the bar.
That's exactly it. That's what he did. All right, Julie, now you got the board. You go ahead and pick the next category.
Okay, self-portraits for $100.
Here's a portrait or a photo of Scott. Very weird. I'm uncomfortable. I have that on my computer now. What is Scott doing here? Julie.
It's his wedding day.
No, not quite. Lori.
I've seen Scott dressed like that. He's on his way to a city council meeting.
No. Yes, Margot.
It's Red Dress Day at the bicycle ride for supporting AIDS.
Okay, okay. Wait, we're going to give you that one. He doesn't support AIDS, okay? You don't support AIDS. That's a bad thing. Well, I don't know. Do you support AIDS, Scott? I don't want to speak for you. I mean, you're one of them liberals. I don't know what you do. Are you for AIDS or against AIDS? Against AIDS, okay. So you're helping out AIDS, or not helping out AIDS, or against, okay, whatever. All right. All right, Margot, we're giving you that one anyway, so go ahead and make the next pick.
I'll take self-portraits for $300.
Okay, everybody look at this. Can you tell me what that is? Margot.
It's the oil spill.
No, it's not the oil spill. Julie.
It's the state of New Jersey.
No, it's close, but no.
With my BS background, I'd say that's Rorschach's ink test.
No. Good guess. Let's pan back a little bit with that photo. Actually, that's Scott's birthmark. It's also called a wine stain, if I'm not mistaken. It gets darker the more you drink, so that thing is pretty damn dark. And sometimes doesn't it move around, doesn't it, on this cheek and that cheek and up here like Gorbachev? Okay. All right, there was no winner on that question, so let's go to the next one. Who had the last pick? Margot, you take the next one.
I'll take volunteers for $300.
Scott is the oldest person to pass this test in Rockwall County. Yes.
Polygraph test.
No. He failed that one miserably. The needle broke. Next. Who's got a next guess? Lori.
It was on all his campaign brochures. He passed the test as a firefighter.
That's exactly right. Scott passed, the oldest person to pass the test to become a firefighter. Now, he fell off a truck soon after that, and then his hose didn't work, so he didn't get to stay long doing that. Does the hose work now? No? Can't put out 5-alarm fires with a dribble, can you? No, yeah. Do you pass kidney stones? Can you pass that kind of test? All right, Laura, you got that one. Choose another category.
I'll take County Mountie for $100, please.
All right. What did Scott accomplish as county commissioner?
Could you repeat the question?
What did Scott accomplish as county commissioner?
There was that race. There were some races that he won.
Yeah, I think he sailed a lot.
Yeah, sailed a lot, yeah.
No, he didn't do anything. No. It's kind of a trick question. I'm sorry, ladies, put you in that position. No, he didn't. In fact, we shouldn't have kept that up there. We couldn't find the answers. But Lori, why don't you choose again?
Okay, I'll try County Mountie for $200.
Here we go again. What did Scott accomplish as treasurer? Wow. Margot.
He tried to get the $3 bill established as currency in Rockwall.
That brings us back to that red dress photo, doesn't it? Yeah. No. Any other guesses? Julie.
He gets elected and then works to abolish his office.
That's right. We heard about that before.
That's right. Every treasurer in the state of Texas wanted to wring his neck.
That's right. Good move, Scott. That worked out good for you. All right, Julie, you won that one. Next question, or pick another category.
All right, I will choose City Slickers for $400.
All right, here we go. What rare event in the world happened in Rockwall County in 2002? Margot.
Haley's Comet.
No. Lori.
The Rangers won the Super Bowl.
Okay, first of all, how many times can you be wrong on one answer? That is unbelievably bad. I'm offended. Julie.
Voters approved the new courthouse.
Oh, please, can we get past that?
No, y'all are all incorrect. Scott is the only human to ever lose an election to Ken Jones. Yeah. That's tough. This is a roast, right? All right. Okay, Julie, you pick the next category.
Okay, Billy, that would be potpourri for $400.
Potpourri. Let's go with this one. What do Ruth Peck and Scott Self have in common?
Could you repeat that question?
What do Ruth Peck and Scott Self have in common?
They're both lesbians.
Margot, they're thespians. Thespians.
I said.
No, you didn't.
Well, what did I say?
I'm not repeating that.
All right, Margot, you're embarrassing us. Lori, we're going to give you the correct answer on that one. Yes, they were thespians. Yes, thespians. I get confused. But everybody knows we talked about it earlier. He was in the community playhouse for a little bit, made Lindsay Lohan look like Laurence Olivier. Had a pretty short career there, didn't you? All right, Lori, it's up to you. Pick next category.
I'll try holy moly for 400.
All right, what biblical character does Scott compare himself to most often?
Ruth.
Okay, Ruth in the Bible or Ruth Peck? She was alive at that same time, so it could be either. You know what? Neither one's right. Neither one's right. Lori.
Moses.
No, he thinks he can part the sea, but no, it ain't Moses.
Noah is in the ark. In fact, he even taught a Sunday school class.
Yeah. Wow, way to stretch out there, Scott. Scott compares himself to Noah a lot. Imagine if you were in charge of the ark. You'd charge every animal $25 to come home. $40 for a pair. There'd be no pandas, because we know pandas are just cheap bastards. They wouldn't even have got on the thing. All right, and just on that same subject, it may interest people to know, as talked about before, you had a Bible study with Rob Whittle and Randall Noe, right, at some point? Wow. What the hell was going on with that meeting? What were y'all praying for? Did they let you in the building? You have to do it in the parking lot, or do you just do it in the building? Wow. All right. Margot, you go.
I'll take holy moly for 500.
Okay, Scott was not actively religious for much of his adult life, but what event caused him to join the church?
He was asked to give